and our product is called Redoct. Redoct is, okay, cool. It's a knowledge management tool. So we not only do files and folders, things like that, but like team spaces, wiki, how-to. A lot of times we're very software team focused. So a lot of tools that are in this space you may have heard of called Basecamp, Confluence. Some people are using Asana and Notion, which are kind of a hybrid. They use project management and knowledge management. We're a pure play knowledge management tool, which we do a couple things a little differently, which, you know, we like a lot. So we'll show it off here. So this is a little infographic. You don't have to digest it all right now. I'll kind of break it apart here in a second, but it's essentially a team space where you can sort cards of sorts, files or link shares. You have meeting notes, and then there's these things called flash pages, which we'll just kind of talk about in a moment. So, like I mentioned, we are software focused first. So we're looking for software teams, client services teams, those building software for clients. Maybe your clients are higher ed or healthcare or something, but you're still building software. Those are our main market focus right now, but we also have a secondary use case, which is for education. So we definitely see this to be used for students and their classes and scheduling and things like that, but we'll take a look at that. But we are very focused on software right now. I'm going to use a quick example about how our product works from real life examples. So typically if you're, I was on a team at Kroger when I used to work at Kroger, a technology team. We were building an app to order food, and that's kind of the use case. I'm going to explain the product through that. And more specifically, we were working on a cart feature, kind of like a checkout cart feature. I think everyone's familiar with ordering ahead food. And so there's a team that's made up behind the scenes to build this app for you. And this is how knowledge management is treated today and how we are doing it a little differently. So you'll see here just on the screen, typically in this use case, in this scenario, on the team, there's some kind of tech lead or architect that when there's a new feature that you're building for your team, you're going to put a bunch of storyboards together and figure out what's the flow for the new feature. And this is obviously the cart feature. So that person's just going to take all his storyboards and he's just going to dump them into a folder and just forget about it. So that's kind of pretty standard. So you'll see that there's a folder on the top here. There's not much to digest, and there's some storyboards. So they dump it and they forget about it and don't really do anything with it. And that's kind of the MO for today with, you know, your Dropbox or Google Drive, what's going on in your team. Same thing with the designer. The designer builds some beautiful sketches on maybe what the app should look like or the feature should look like, and then he or she dumps them into another folder called Wireframe. Same thing, the same designer may, or someone else may build some, you know, mock-ups and throw them into another folder that's very not helpful, and so forth and so on. So this is kind of the old way. So your team is going around throwing these stuff into buckets. We understand that, and then it's kind of helpful because you can go find that bucket maybe down the road, but after a while you just have all these little silos of buckets and things. And yes, you can see that our software does support folders, but if we drag them, which you can't really tell in the screenshot, I need to get a better screenshot. If we drag them over to what we call a flash page, in addition to just putting them into buckets, we can now take those buckets and line them up into kind of like what your standard methodology is. So we just kind of organize them. First we do a statement of work, and then we do some storyboards and then wireframes, and then you can repeat that very easily. And so we take these features and we build them, you can build them out on the software, and for right now our scenario is for building the cart or checkout feature. And what we do is we take those, and you'll see here on the right side, we have kind of the folder structure of what we just talked about. So first the storyboard and the functional requirements, maybe some assets or logos, mockups. And we kind of created a product store inside your own team to build these features. And what's nice about it is you'll see that this one says one-click ordering, but it's actually supposed to be the cart and checkout. And it builds a snapshot. You can see you have meeting notes about this, and I'll look at the bigger page in a second. But you also have some metadata about what it is, maybe who owned it, and maybe if you did estimations or starting and ending. And what makes this really powerful is that now you can kind of not only put stuff into buckets, but also pin them or dock them to a board where those features now become reusable, so you can use them for other clients. So if you build a customization for University of North Carolina, you can use it for Ohio State. It's repeatable, so once you build that feature, you clone it, it loses all the data, and it retains that same folder structure. So you're just rinsing and repeating the same methodology. It's resellable, just like I was just saying, if you build a customization or a feature for one client, it's easy to get it all back together, edit the statement of work, change a couple things, and it's just easy to find everything really. And then lastly, it's easily understood. So no matter who finds the data or finds your team's pro page or flash page is what they're called, it's easily to understand because it's all the same layout. So we just create the shell, the structure, and someone else, a salesperson, a project manager, could easily start to figure out really quickly what it's about, not just digging through folders looking for old documentation. So what we do is we share the new way. We're sharing, making it easier to share, implement, delivering, and discovering. It's easier to discover content. It's kind of the Facebook versus MySpace problem. MySpace gave people a lot of power to design spaces and publish them, but everything was different. It was very hard to understand. And then Facebook said, hey, let's make the shell the same, but everyone's content is what makes them unique. Wrapping it up, flash pages essentially allow them to be collected. So you'll see here, really quickly, just kind of a dashboard at team level. So this is our team level. Is if I clicked on, let's say, wireframes, I'm going to see all the wireframes for all the features on our team, but I would also be able to go to the feature and see those wireframes specifically for those features. So it's this kind of like XY axis. So I can go to the folders on top or by the features or the topics or channels that you want to use on the side. And then I'm running out of time. I think my beeper's up. But lastly, we're working with some early partners. If you sign up on our website, redox.com, you'll get, oh, you don't have it here yet. You get a card and some free coffee mailed to you, a little like pour over French press, little individual packet, and a card and some other stuff. And we just recently showed up at TechCrunch Disrupt online. There was a virtual conference. So that was kind of like our go live software launch party. And we're getting crazy. So follow us on LinkedIn. We would love to answer any questions. Sign up for a launch packet, and please spread the word. You know, we're a small startup out of Rock Hill. We got resources in India as well, good team members of ours, and we're working to get this going. So check us out, sign up, and your questions. Thanks. Thanks, man. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. I'll try to look at the screen here. Over here. Yeah.
Great job, Dane. It looks like a really awesome product, and I've been playing with some of those other ones you mentioned. But I'd love to check that one out.
Hold on.
Yeah, thank you.
See, now I'll duplicate.
Sorry, check
Now
over
what?
here. I can talk under yours. You want me to do that?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, we'll hang out.
So what questions does
Yeah, we're sharing.
everybody have for Dane?
So what's your,
Yeah, I have a question.
what's the ideal client like?
Yeah, the ideal client are typically product
that's okay.
teams building software. So,
Okay.
or it could be a client team building software is the ideal client. But
So
Okay.
it's good for software development teams.
yeah, tech leads, project managers, all working together as those unique roles working together. But it doesn't have to be a software company. Like I said, like we worked at Kroger. Anyone building software is the main niche. But like you can see, it's a very generic tool like Trello. So it can be applied to other things. You're like, hey, I just want to organize my own projects on this.
Right.
Very easy to do that. But we are focused there first. But, you know, we'll work with anybody. But, you know, that's where it was started.
So
first.
what's the thing that makes you stand out
Yeah.
from Trello and Asana?
Google Drive, all those things.
Yeah.
A couple things. One, I've already mentioned the flash pages. That's kind of like a Pinterest feature where you kind of group those things together.
Yeah, I like that too.
And thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, we and you don't have to edit and publish spaces like in Confluence. So Confluence, you're building stuff and you're publishing, and everything is requiring this. So we just took all the design out of it because we're like, hey, we can make this presentable enough that people would all be able to use the same template.